Breaking news here on Ravens Rundown as the Ravens are bringing back Kenyan Drake, reunited, and it feels so good. Welcome in to this edition of Ravens Rundown by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with the complete analysis on the move to bring Kenyan Drake back. He is signed to the practice squad. This is the first notable move of sorts that the Ravens have made since the J.K. Dobbins injury from over a week ago. If you recall, initially they promoted Melvin Gordon from the practice squad up to the active roster. Keaton Mitchell is still on the PUP list for now with a couple more weeks to go on that. But Kenyan Drake making his return after going to the Indianapolis Colts originally. The Ravens opted to not bring him back at first. He goes to Indianapolis, tried out for the Colts, and ultimately did not make their final roster and was on their practice squad. Last year was decent for Baltimore. In the action that we did see Kenyan Drake in, he was the third leading rusher for this Ravens team in 2022. Now, it is a different offense now compared to the offense that he was in last year. Remember, the offensive scheme has changed under Todd Monken, so it won't be like he's picking up the offense he was in before, so there will be a learning curve. But you look at the statistics, Kenyan Drake has been solid in his career. You go back to last year, he had nearly 500 rushing yards, 4.4 yards per carry, 4 touchdowns. 2021, 254 yards, 4 yards per carry, 2 touchdowns. His best season of his career, you go back to 2020, nearly 1,000 yards. 4 yards per carry, 10 rushing touchdowns. Probably not going to get the Kenyan Drake you saw in 2020, but Kenyan Drake still has something left to offer. He hasn't slowed down a ton. He's still a decent back. This, to me, was a no-brainer decision by the Ravens to bring Kenyan Drake back. With what he showed last year, I was actually surprised that the Ravens didn't bring him back initially, that they opted for Melvin Gordon, which, if you watch this show for the last few months, as you may know, I'm not any fan of Melvin Gordon by any means. To me, this made total sense. I thought he should have been there to begin with. You bring him back. I expect him to be activated sooner than later. This is a very good move by the Ravens, and there's other implications with this matter that we'll get to here in just a moment. First, though, what is your one-word reaction to the Ravens bringing back Kenyan Drake into the fold? My one-word reaction is expected. This should have happened to begin with. They should have never let him go to Indianapolis. Could have kept him around on the practice squad beforehand. Anyways, he's a solid player. Expected move. Give me your one-word reaction. Let us know in the comments section what that one word is. Folks, no matter how big or small any move is that the Ravens make, you know we're going to talk about it here on Ravens Rundown as we cover your team each and every day here on the channel. We got a watch party coming up this weekend when your Baltimore Ravens take on the Indianapolis Colts. You won't want to miss out on that. For daily Baltimore Ravens coverage, watch parties, live shows, news and rumors, and more, this is the channel. We are growing here, folks. Help us as we're in our pursuit for 12,000 subscribers. Subscribe for free today and turn on notifications to stay up to date on your Baltimore Ravens. The depth chart for Baltimore with J.K. Dobbins out of the picture. Here's how things stand right now. Gus Edwards is your number one running back. Justice Hill takes the number 2 spot. Melvin Gordon activated as the RB3. Patrick Ricard, the starting fullback. And then Kenyan Drake as the practice squad back. And with that, a couple things that I expect to happen, at least where things stand right now. Keaton Mitchell eventually, I do think, gets on the active roster once he comes back from PUP. But at least for the time being, I think what you eventually see is Kenyan Drake goes to the active roster. Melvin Gordon goes back to the practice squad. At least that's what I hope anyway. I trust Kenyan Drake a whole lot more to take care of the football than I do Melvin Gordon. I also think this ends any potential pursuit of a trade for Cam Akers at this point. I think that the Ravens are saying to themselves, we're going to roll with what we got. We know Kenyan Drake, what he brings to the table. We're not giving up draft capital to bring up Cam Akers at this point. And I think once they see what Kenyan Drake does and what Keaton Mitchell does when he comes back from injury. Then they'll reevaluate, but at least that's the plan for right now, and you can't blame them when they got a 2-0 record at this point. More on Kenyan Drake in his background. We mentioned previously with the Ravens last year, played with the Raiders before that, the Arizona Cardinals, as well as the Miami Dolphins. Ravens are getting a dual threat running back at that, as his yards per reception in his career is around 7.5 yards per reception. So not bad for a running back with those numbers there. He has experience in kick return coverage. Although it's been a while since he last returned a kick, he has done so. He does have a kick return touchdown in his career. Scouting report-wise, the thing that you look at when you talk Kenyan Drake always is the aggressiveness that he shows to have that ability to finish runs. Those yards after contact has been his calling card throughout his career. And he's always been that number 2, number 3 type back, not necessarily the type to be a primary ball carrier, as he's never had that 1,000-yard season in his career to this point. And we mentioned last season, as the Ravens had a rotating carousel of running backs, and Kenyan Drake had 2 games last season where he had at least 90 rushing yards in Week 6 and in Week 9. Eventually, things turned over to J.K. Dobbins to be that lead back, but for a while, it looked like Kenyan Drake might have been the best running back in that backfield until Dobbins ultimately got fully healthy there. Adding Kenyan Drake gets the Ravens by for now. They're kind of putting Band-Aids on things when it comes to the run game for the time being. But the big thing for me is going to be the return of Keaton Mitchell. When he comes back, he looked really good in the preseason. The UDFA out of East Carolina. I know there's a lot of excitement, a lot of hope what he brings to the table there. If Keaton Mitchell comes back and if he looks as good as advertised he did the preseason, then you're not worried about having to rely on guys like Kenyan Drake or Melvin Gordon potentially anyway. And we've seen the Ravens have dealt with the injury bug pretty much more than anybody else in the league, and in particular that running back position. So then, if God forbid something happens to Gus Edwards or Justice Hill, then we'll see how much you potentially need more of guys like Drake and Gordon and Mitchell and others. So how would you grade the signing of bringing back Kenyan Drake? Put him on the practice squad, see what you got. Easy call for me. I give it an A. Grade the signing in the comment section. Let us know what you think of this move to bring Kenyan Drake back. For more Ravens coverage, subscribe to the channel for the latest happenings of your favorite team. And make sure to join us for a watch party coming up this weekend, live right here on Ravens Rundown. We will see you then. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks for joining us.